I was going to make a video last night, but then I said, heck with it. Here's my muffler patch. I took a flap disc with the grinder and flap disced it all. Put a little, it didn't have much of a hole. That's why I'm like, well, you know, maybe I can patch it. And then I just took some epoxy, that was the 5-minute epoxy, put around the edge of the hole and took some aluminum foil and put over it. I learned this off of Counts Customs, the restoration guy, Rick. That's the way he fixed mufflers, so he said. If I had a torch and like a brazen head, I could braze it. This is pretty thick. But I just used some of this extreme heat JB weld, and I put epoxy around the hole, aluminum foil, and then the extreme weld. It's supposed to be rated for 1,000 degrees. I don't know, it's still not dry, it's still a little soft, so it might go on pretty wet, or pretty thin, put it to you like that. Right here it is, it's world's strongest bond. They fix mufflers and manifolds with it. It's in that little white thing. I just fixed it up into cardboard. It said to put it on there. I read the instructions, but 2 to 4 hours to set up. It said need 24 hours to cure. Test cure by pressing fingernail or thumb into material. If unusable to penetrate, then repair is complete. I don't know. Use non-flammable heat source to speed cure. I allow 24 hours. There it is. You know, it's just on the back side here, it was blowing up against the bottom of the trunk in the Jeep, and it was catching the seam sealer on fire in the floor of the Jeep. So it had to be done. It was starting to smoke out the cab. I thought something was on fire, so I got the cradle in, all the parts are in. I'm waiting on a bolt. Tried to call down Tractor Supply and get the main manager to stop by. He lives up the road here, and said they didn't have nothing, so I found the same shank size that I needed and the length that I needed. It's a grade 5 bolt. It was almost $10, man. I'm a little upset, but I got it together. Looking good. Looks like the trailing arms are slightly tilted in, so it might need a camber adjustment, or, you know, I need those A-arms for that 2-inch lift. But I got to make a sleeve that'll go over that bolt and go through those A-arms and be able to bolt it up and then have it lined up. You know, it's a little more, but it's whatever. If that's what needs to be done, it would look better, and that was what I paid for. You know, it was just buy a lift kit for it and, you know, get it up off the ground a little bit. It was the same money as it would be by the 2 upper bars, and I got everything. It's cheap stuff, I know, but at least it's fixed and it's all together at one time. So I don't know, we're gonna try to see if I can get it lined up like that, and if not, then I'm definitely gonna have to get the bars, something custom made for them. But it's together, and I'm waiting on the muffler to dry, but I'm waiting for a bolt too, just on this side corner. I found a little compression kit for brakes. It had a long bolt, but it's maybe 3/8. It's not that thick. It's not 1/2-inch shank. I just stuck it down through the hole, and it's got a knob on it, and tightened that corner up. Make sure it ain't gonna move. And I don't know, it was yanking and janking around there, and I put the new ABS wires on there, and I got to clear out the codes and see what it does. But I'm thinking it might need a wheel bearing, or, you know, I know it needs the 2 in the back once ever I put the backing plates on. And then you got to test the PCM board, the resistance across that PCB board on them ABS modules and pumps. But to do that, I mean, it's a pretty big deal. And then, you know, you got to find one obviously with low resistance so you can actually use the thing. Sometimes you got to have a scan tool to program the VIN number into it. It's a lot. It needs 2 rear back brake lines too. They're starting to get dry. And then I was going to rotate the tires too, front to back. I got them tires, I put about maybe 10,000 miles, maybe 20. It's low miles. I think 2 oil changes. So less than 10,000 miles, maybe 3,000. So need to do that. That one wheel, it got into the, right there you can see it, it looks a little brown. It got into that brake pad, and I thought it was the backing plate scratching again, because the brakes wasn't that bad. But I got the brake to the caliper to compress and throw the used set of brake pads on it. I was thinking maybe that brake caliper was stuck, but it isn't. So I think it's got problems with the ABS module. A brand new one's $800. You might find something off of eBay if you can check the resistance on that little board. That's all. You got to take the whole pump out regardless and swap it out. So it's a big job, and it's hard to get it to bleed without a computer. You know, you take it down the road, you make a, once you get it on there, you get it to actually take, and then you can do an ABS bleed. You just bleed these 2 wheels. Once you do bleed it manually, you ABS bleed it, and then you got to bleed it for a 3rd time for the manual. But to get it to program into the ABS on some of them models, 15 to 30 miles an hour down the road, hang a left, hang a right, turn the key off, turn it on, and then make sure it took the flash, and then drive it as normal. It's a lot, okay? It's a whole lot. But, you know, and then I patched these 2 rear quarters and put brake lights and tail lights in it. That's just something I had. I had an actual cop say something over the tail lights. Oh, you need to get them fixed. I said, well, give me some money, buddy. I get her done right now. Well, you ain't got to be like that. I said, it's like that, buddy. I mean, if you're going to make me do something, can you pay for it? I'm tight on money too, son. I said, well, you know, I get it done as soon as I can. Went to a junkyard, got to sell tail lights. That 3rd brake light ain't much, but it's doing something weird now again too. Like when you go to hit the hood squirters, it goes like it does something funky. So I don't know. And then I did something with the horn too. I bypassed all the silliness and hooked it straight to hot on the horn, so I could use the horn, and it's acting up too. So I don't know. Still needs some work. Trying to get it fixed.